So this is a tutorial for responding to Louis Jova using Adobe Photoshop. So first of all, you need to open up an example piece of Louis Jova's work so that we can refer to it later on in the tutorial. We now need to open up an image that we can use as our main subject matter or focal point. So this one here is Andy Warhol, and I'm going to do the same. So File Open. What we need to do now is remove the background. So we're going to use the magnetic lasso tool to do that. So it's the third one down, select it and grab it. And we need to trace around the subject. Try and get some good detail in there, particularly around the hair. And keep clicking as you're drawing around. You can zoom in on this as well. You could press Ctrl+ and that would zoom in so that you can really pick up finer details, and then Control take away to come out of that zoom. And as I come to the bottom, I'm not too fussed about how neat the bottom part is. And we join them up. Now we've got our marching ants. On the keyboard, we're going to press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. If I hide that background layer, we can see our new layer with the transparent background. And we know that's transparent because we've got this grey and white checkerboard. So let's save that as a Photoshop file so that we can use it in a moment. So PSD, perfect, save, okay. And we can now close that. Let's open up a new sheet of A4 to make our work on. So drop down to Presets, International Paper, and okay. All right, so first things first, we're going to steal some of the colours that we can see in this piece of work here. So on your tool panel on the left-hand side, just select this one here. It's the eyedropper tool. So click it and select some of the background or part of the background just by clicking your mouse. And what that's done is that's now put that particular colour into your colour palette down there. So we can now jump over to our new piece of paper and use the paint bucket tool to fill it that colour. So it matches the artwork's background, artist background. Next up, we need to place our Andy Warhol or subject, so File Place. It's the Photoshop file that you're selecting. And use your Shift key to make it bigger, smaller, etc. So I'm going to put mine about there. We need to rasterize the layer so that we can work on top of it. So if you head over to your layer panel and right click and rasterize layer, we're now going to chop his head into sections, just as the artist has done here. So use your rectangular marquee tool to do this for now. So we're going to drag a box over the top part of the face and then use our mouse tool to just move it. So I'm going to pop it over here. Then use your marquee tool just to click anywhere to get rid of those marching ants. I'm now going to chop off this half of his face. So again, just drag that box over and use my arrow move tool to move it across. Okay, what I want to do next is keep the eye. So I'm going to hold down my rectangular marquee and select the elliptical marquee tool. So I've clicked to get rid of those marching ants, and now I can hold my Shift key down and draw a perfect circle over the eye. Just move that so it's nice and central. And use your mouse tool to cut and move that piece. Just going to pop it there for now. Back to the rectangular marquee tool to draw a box around this, and I'm going to hit delete. I don't need that piece anymore. And I'm going to draw a new box around the eye just so I can move it somewhere else. Okay, so use my select tool just to get rid of those marching ants. So that's the first bit done. Next, we need to add some circles. So just referring back to this piece here, Obviously, there's lots of circular shapes, so we're going to do that first of all. So let's jump back to our work and create a new layer. So in your layer panel down the bottom, this little post-it note here is your new layer. Hold down your elliptical marquee tool again, hold your shift key and draw your first circle. Now at this point you can move it around, but we're going to do a group of circles, so make sure you are happy with the placement of them because you can't move them all individually. So I've got one there, I'm going to put another, I think, oops, I've lost the first one. Need to be holding down that shift key, so shift, one there, shift, one there, and I think I'll do a rather large circle over here, holding down that shift key to make sure it stays nice and circular. Okay, now you will get that pop-up. It's a sticky key pop-up. It means that it doesn't like you holding down the shift key for too long, so just click no, don't click yes, it'll mess up your keyboard. So we're now going to go back to the artist work, and I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to pick out a colour off of the artwork, and in this instance I'm going to use this sage green colour. So I've clicked it with my mouse and that's picked up that colour. I can see it, it's in my colour palette. Jump back to my artwork, select my paint bucket and fill. And that's filled all three because they were all selected at the same time. So I now need to get rid of the marching ants around it. I'm going to hold my marquee tool and just click anywhere on the screen. Now at this point you can play around with your layers. You can decide if you want it behind the subject or in front of the subject. I think I would like mine behind. I'm going to draw a couple of more circles, different colour this time. I think I'm going to pick out this blue colour. So jump back. And I'm going to do this on a new layer. So one circle, holding down my shift key. Again, this is your only opportunity to move it. Got a little one appeared there, but that's quite nice. I like that. Maybe just one over here. Paint bucket tool and click, and then you can. I don't know why that's. It's because it's behind this background, of course. Okay, let's get rid of our marching ants. So click anywhere and let's just pop that in the correct layer order that you would like. So that's my starting point. I am now going to add in a black circle, and I'm going to make something like this over here. Okay, so back to your work. Just click your colour palette and select black. And draw a circle coming off the page. So hold your shift key down. Oops. Draw that again. Nope. Just move, oh dear, it's not going well. Just move it to where you want it to be. So out there's fine for me, and I'm going to fill it black. And get rid of the marching ants by clicking anywhere with my select tool. Okay, I'm now going to use the rectangular select tool, marquee tool, this one here, to delete sections out of this black sphere to make and create the lines, the black and white lines that we've got over here. Okay, so I'm going to drag the box. Now it's really important that you are noting the width and height where it says W and H. So now it's the width is 3, the height is 0.82. Just try and remember what height you used so that each one will be the same. And that makes sense in a minute. So draw your first box and then press delete. That was 82. So now draw another one and try and get that height roughly the same and delete so that each gap is kind of accurate. So I want the black spaces equally as accurate as the removed parts. So So 82-ish. It is very fiddly, so it doesn't need to be bang on. Delete. And I'm going to just do one last one. 82. You can see how much I'm struggling to get it bang on there. That'll do. Delete. Okay, and click anywhere. Now you could carry that on all the way down or leave it as half as I have. It's up to you. New layer. Now this one we're going to be using the pencil tool. So hold down your paintbrush on the tool panel on the left hand side and select pencil. Make sure your pencil is black. It'll probably come up as 1 to begin with, and that's far too thin. You're just going to struggle to see that. So I would opt to put it to about 6 or 7. So we are going to click anywhere, click with your mouse, move your cursor to where you want that line to go, which in this instance is here. Hold your shift key and click again, and then you will get that line appear, okay? And I'm going to do another one, so I'm going to start at the same point of the line, click, move my mouse, hold my shift key and click again. And again, I'm going to repeat that, click, move my mouse, hold my shift key, click. So I've got 3 lines that I've done there. I'm going to do one more, I think. So click, move my mouse to where I want that line to finish, hold my shift key and click again. There we are. Now I need to join these lines in because at the moment, what I want to do is fill them in. So if I go back to the artist's work for reference, you can see here, he's filled in this line here and a few of them over here. But at the moment, if I fill this with the paint bucket tool, I'll show you just as an example, it's going to bleed out. So there we go. Okay, so we need to basically trap it in these sections here. So we just need to get our pencil tool again, make sure that's on black. I'm going to zoom in for this, so Control+, and I'm going to click the end of the line, click and Shift and click again, click, move my arrow mouse, click, shift, click, click. And that's now filled those spaces in. So while I'm here, I'll jump back to the artwork. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool, grab a colour, come back to mine, and use my paint bucket tool to add in. And there you go. You can see that that's now blocked and locked that colour in. Just come out of there. Now this is looking pretty hideous. I don't like that layer in the order that it is. So I'm going to bring it right behind. And now that works fine. I'm happy with that. If I want to change it around a bit, I can click Control-T and I can move the angle of it. If I decide, actually, I think I want it like that, and actually I think I do. It looks okay. I can do that. Press Enter when you're happy with the placement of it. And we're going to have a go at making some more of these lines. So it's good practice, and as it is. So pencil tool. I'm going to do some more from the eye again, I think. So click, move your mouse to where you want it to go. When you're happy, click Shift and click with your mouse. Oops, I've got it in orange. Let's do that, Control-Alt-Z. Let's do that again. So click, move my mouse, Shift and click. Click, move my mouse, hit Shift and click. Click, move my mouse, Shift and click. I'll do quite a few of these, I think. Click, move my mouse, Shift and click. Whoops, nope. And click, move my mouse, Shift and click. Okay. I'm going to move that layer behind the circles. There we go. Okay. Next up, we're going to have a go at adding in a curved line. So this one is a little bit more fiddly. So we've got our pen tool down here on the left-hand side. That's what we're going to need for this bit. So pen. You then need to drop down where it says path to shape, because we want it to become a shape. We don't want it to be filled in. We want it to be empty. So cross out or tick the one that's here that says no colour. But we do need the stroke, which is the line, the outline. So tick that as black. and drop down this straight line here to dashed lines. So again, looking at the artist's work, we can see he's got some dashed lines here. So again, we're taking that, a few curved lines here as well. We're taking that inspiration and applying it to our own. Now this is really fiddly, okay? So it might take a few attempts. So click anywhere on the outside of the page. So I'm going to click here. Now going to, in a minute, click again. So, but before I do that, I need to hit my shift key, click and drag. So all in one movement. And there you can see when I let go of my mouse and shift key, automatically I get these dotted lines. I now need to rasterize that so that it's its own shape and I can get rid of all these bits here. Rasterize. I'll do that again for you. So we select our pen, make sure the fill is off, make sure the stroke is on, and you can edit the thickness of the lines and the thinness of the lines by here, but I'm quite happy with it being this size and make sure it's dashed. You could do dots, but I like this dash one. So click somewhere on the edge of the page, and in one movement, in one mouse movement and keyboard movement, I'm going to click and click shift as well. So click with the mouse and shift at the same time. So click shift and drag. And there we go. Right click on the layer, rasterize it. So then you've got your dashes. Now I'm going to move that because I don't like the fact it's over here. So I'm going to move it. I think over there is quite nice. And actually I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to make 2 of those. So rather than doing the process again, I can just right click, duplicate layer. And then I've got 2. So that's that part there. Again, we're going to use a new layer in a second to add in a bit more. So looking at the image, we've got these sort of random images applied and arrows. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Go back to mine. Now I've already gone on to Google Images and found some bits that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go File, Place. I'm going to do the paintbrush first. I quite like this. Now you can see by the paintbrush that background is a different colour to our background. We've got this bright white box around this paintbrush, which I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to hit enter and use my magic wand tool, which is over here. Just click around that box. Oops, I need to rasterize it. Click around the box and hit delete. Now that will only work if you've got an empty a plain background. If your image that you're using has a busy background, you're going to need to use the magnetic lasso tool to cut it out. But with mine, because it was a plain white block piece of colour, I was able to just delete it with the magic wand tool. I can now use my mouse tool and Control T to transform it. So that's making it bigger, smaller, rotate it, which I'm going to do. I'm quite happy with that, I think. I'm just going to move it around to see if I like it anywhere else. I might pop it there, enter, and just pop it on top, move the layer around. Can't work out where I like it more. I think I'll pop it there. Okay. And the same with the arrow. So File, Place. I found my arrow off the internet. Again, it's got that plain white background. So I'm just going to hold my shift key down, drag it smaller and over here where I can edit it. Use my magic wand tool to delete. Rasterize the layer. And delete on my keyboard. Delete, delete, delete. Now I want to change the colour of that to match the artist's work. So again, I'll jump back over, use my eyedropper tool, select this maroon red colour and jump back over. Use the paint bucket tool to colour in the arrow. And I want to give this arrow a little bit of a black outline. So I'm going to right click on it, blending options. Just move that box so you can see what you're working with. And if you click stroke, it automatically will tick it as well, but make sure it's highlighted blue. And a stroke adds an outline. Obviously this is too much. I'm just playing around with the size, and I think that's probably fine. 16 is fine. So okay, when you're happy with that, move your mouse tool. Maybe for the sake of this, I'm going to chuck the arrow to the top in the layer panel so that it's on top of everything else. Pop that there. And the final thing I'm going to add in this is a little bit of text. We've got over here Andy Warhol's initials. So using black, select your text tool, make a text box, and add in a nice serif font. So that's something with feet on the bottom. So something like Times New Roman is a good one to use. There we are. And I'm just going to do his initials, AW, Andy Warhol. Highlight that to make it bigger. It's still too little. I want it to make quite big. 150. Yeah, why not? Okay, if you need to edit it any further, so you just click your T tool and hover your cursor over the text, and then you'll get your box back. So I actually do want this on one line. So maybe I will make it slightly smaller than that, 120. There we are. Okay, and one final thing that I'm going to do is, again, taking it from the artist's work, is you see some of these circles with the dots within them. I'm going to replicate that on here just by using my paintbrush. So at the minute it's set as a pencil. Hold it down, select brush tool, make sure it's white. You can edit the size here. Oh, cancel, I'm on the wrong layer. Need to make a new layer to do that, so new layer. So now hovering over that, this little circle that's appeared is the size of the paintbrush dots that we're going to have. So I think that's fine. Now take your time with this because there isn't a sort of guide or arrow, so you're going to have to do it by eye. But really take your time, adding in some white dots, trying to make it either a pattern or equally spaced. It's up to you. So coming to the end of this tutorial now, I wouldn't class the artwork as finished. I think it still needs a lot more going on. It needs maybe some more images added in, maybe a few more circles, different colours, etc. But this gives you the process ideas, how to use the pen tool to make the dashed curved lines, how to use the pencil tool to make the long straight lines, how to use your paint bucket tool to add in blocks of colour, and how to use the eyedropper to steal colour, understanding the layers and the order in which they are. And if you're not sure and you want to edit something more, if you just hover over it and right click, it will tell you what layer that is. So I'm going to go back to this layer here and just final touches, add in some more orange dashes there. And when you're happy with it and you think it's a good solid response to the artist, then get it saved as a JPEG. Response. If you're happy with it, but you want to work back into it at a later time, then you can save it as a Photoshop file, and that will keep all of your layers. It will keep it editable, so you can come back to it at any point. Thanks for watching.